finished watching Ann Bernhardt's 8-part thing on YouTube, and I want to get that was an awesome presentation that she did. Very direct, very simplified. Anybody with 2 cents can watch that and understand the basics of what's going on. And something that I kind of wanted to touch on was the interest, and how she says that you want to eliminate, or there's certain groups out there, certain ideologies that want to eliminate the use of interest. And I've still been on the fence about that. I do recognize that there is a time value to money, and if you're going to loan somebody money, you want something else back for it. My problem is that when you take a step back and look at the big picture, if there's, number one, there's not counterfeiting going on. If we have a Treasury issued debt-free note that's spent by the government into existence, and there is a very limited amount of that spending once the transition period's over with, there's a very limited amount that's added every year, and it should be added based on population growth and increased productivity. My whole thing is that if a large majority, if money out there is being loaned and interest is being tacked onto it, there has to be some way, there has to be additional currency added to the system in order to pay that interest. And that's kind of the whole thing that I'm struggling with. She goes in and says a reasonable rate of interest. I'm not sure what reasonable is, and I would assume, and my guess is that it would kind of depend on how much currency is being added to the system, because when you loan something out, when you loan money out, and you ask for more than what you loaned out back, that currency has to be produced somewhere within the system in order to pay that interest. The problem we have now is that every note that's issued has interest attached to it, and so you'll never be able to pay off the interest. You can pay off the principal. Paying off the principal of all debt would eliminate all the currency, and everybody would still owe all the interest. Now, under a system where there's no counterfeiting, there's no fractional reserve banking, you have a pure separation of command accounts, command deposit accounts like checking your savings that are not allowed to be loaned out, and then you've also got the other side where you've got CDs, where you're putting your money away and you want a rate of return with the interest, and you know that you can't withdraw that money without having some kind of a penalty. The amount of interest that can be charged out in the system has to be limited to the addition of currency that's added to the system. There's some situation in there, and that's kind of my open-ended question, is how do we have a decent rate of interest for loans so that we don't have inflation and we don't have perpetual money creation in order to satisfy this interest? And how do we keep people who are borrowing from defaulting because there's not enough currency in the system? Remember, right now as it is, in order for someone to pay off their loan, someone else within the system has to default, because there's not enough currency in the system to pay off principal and the interest. So that's kind of what I'm struggling with, is how do you calculate, a decent rate of interest and still keep inflation and how you keep inflation in check. So there it is. Other than that, and she just did a real basic rundown, and it is kind of long, but it kept my interest. I love her conviction, and I love the fact that she doesn't pull any punches. She ought to run for something. I'd vote for her. But anyways, if you want a basic rundown, or if you need just an overall view of the thing, it's an excellent breakdown. Ann Bernhardt. So check it out, and leave your thoughts about this interest, these interest questions in the comment section. I'd appreciate it, and we might go over some of the comments if they're useful, if they're substantive. I get some of these comments where, oh, Joe Sixpack thinks he knows everything because he watched a couple of videos. Hey man, I don't pretend to know everything, but I've been studying this stuff for some time now. I ran for Attorney General back in 2010 and basically ran on a platform of, hey, we're not prosecuting bank crime. I only got 21% of the vote, but based on this last election here in the state, that for an independent, that ain't too damn bad. I'm not exactly new to this information, but my other channel was William Dawes in DE, and it's got some older stuff. It's got all my speeches on there, and I plan on running again, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this video blog, because I want people to see what I've been talking about. In the future, they can go back and look. Hey, he was talking about this stuff, a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever the collapse happened. I don't think that the appetite for political change is going to be there until we actually have this dollar collapse. And when that happens, hey, if the only communique that I can have is my bullhorn, down by a crowd, I'm gonna be letting them know who the criminals are and who's to blame for this system crashing, and some basic ideas of what we can do to try to get ourselves out of it. So that's it. Check out that Ann Bernhardt. She is great, and it was really uplifting to watch a smart, confident woman talk like this and notice information and make a stand and do that. So all right, that's it for now.